ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿ ಹೆಂಗಿದ್ದೀರಿ?
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ. We have come to the ashram in Dodbalapur.
Dodbalapur.
Advaitam.
ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿ 2-3 ದಿವಸ
ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇರ್ತೀರಿ ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿ? ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇರ್ತೀರಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲ, only one night.
Okay.
Coming to Bombay tomorrow.
Okay.
ಬಾಂಬೆದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ದಿವಸ ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿ?
2 days.
ಮಾತಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಮೌನವಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು.
So are you turning all of them mute? Yeah, you turn all of them mute, then I will unmute myself. We are starting in a minute. But mine is not gone. All means mine also should go to mute.
No, I have done only 2 or
Neelambujasyamalakomalangam Sita Samaropitavamabhagam. Panau Mahasayakacharuchapam Namami Ramam Raghuvamshanatham. Namami Ramam Raghuvamshanatham. Welcome to this webinar, where we have a very simple topic. Simple and yet far-reaching in its prospects. Soham and Naham is a summary of a way to meditate. In this way of meditation, the possibilities are endless. A primary school girl can meditate using Soham and Naham. With her limited understanding, the little girl can breathe in saying Soham and just bring to her own mind a sense of I am a good student. I want to be good in everything. That is the meaning she will comprehend as she says Soham and takes a breath deep inside. While breathing out, that little girl says Naham and can visualize her giving up or letting go of all possible bad habits. Whatever at that age she regards as not good for a good student, like laziness, not doing a little homework that the teachers may be giving, not cooperating with parents in little things at home or anywhere. On the other extreme, Soham and Naham can be 2 mantras accompanying breathing in and breathing out for very advanced Vedantis. A monk living in the Himalayas may be sitting by river Bhagirathi and doing Brahma Chintanam, contemplation on Brahman, can also employ Soham while breathing in and Naham while breathing out. As the monk, the sannyasi, says Soham, he brings to his own understanding. He reminds himself, in other words, how he is indeed Satchit Ananda. He is Satyam Dhanam Anantam Brahma. He is a principle that is not limited in any way, unlike body, mind, senses, and other aspects of the personality. Soham, I am infinite. Soham, I am of the nature of consciousness. Soham, I am of the nature of all intelligence. And whatever, all his Upanishadic studies can come into a nutshell when he says Soham and takes a deep breath within. And this Swamiji, with quite a lot of Vedanta studies, having done Vedanta studies, while breathing out, may say Naham, and he can contemplate on the Brahadaranyaka Shruti, Neti Neti iti Esha Atma. I abide by my pure self, by a total negation of all that I am not. 1,000 aham vrittis, 1,000 descriptions of oneself are all anatma. In the negation of those, in the dismissal of those, I realize who I actually am. So that dismissal is it went to mute automatically. Yes, it is now unmuted. I was joking that as I was explaining Naham, negation or dismissal, the internet here dismissed me for a moment. But then, with all kindness, it has re-entered or permitted me to re-enter. Hope everyone is hearing me quite clearly at this moment. I am a little far away from Bangalore city, and therefore in this rural area, the internet can be a little undependable, but we had checked it. Broadly, it is good. So, what we are touching upon in this webinar is a little bit of a method. I must admit before you that as we go higher and higher, methods lose their significance. Methods and techniques are necessary for beginners. But at the same time, even if we have gone or walked a long way, isn't it true that at times in the same day, on the same day at a little different time maybe, our mind becomes so coarse, so backward. For there is always the play of sattva, rajas and tamas outside and inside. When we are very sattvic, we may let go of all methods and hold the essence of the Vedanta teachings with no dependence on any method. But when our mind becomes rajasic, something disturbs us, something makes us a bit you know, slow, bit insensitive, and so on, nothing like some simple methods to bring ourselves back to form. So, what is Soham? As everyone knows, Soham is Saha Aham. Saha is the Shuddha Atma, that which is ever free, which is ever of the nature of Satchit, Saha. Saha Atma, which is well known in the Upanishads, Aham, I am. Saha Aham Asmi. Saha and Aham brought together becomes Soham. You know the story that Vedanta texts sometimes use to convey how Vedanta helps us to wake up from a dreamy existence of ego. Ego is not true. Our ego, whether at times of pride or at times of hurt, both the times, the ego is an illusion, but we normally don't realize. The ego is with us almost in a beginningless and endless manner. That's how Adi Shankara's Paramaguru, who is Gaudapada, uses a karika in the Mandukya karikas, Anadi Mayaya Suptaha Yada Jivaha Prabudyate Ajam Anidram Aswapnam Swatmanam Budyate Tada. A much quoted shloka from the work of Gaudapada Acharya, who was the grand guru of Sri Shankaracharya, says, Anadi Mayaya Suptaha. You and I have been asleep because of Maya, which is beginningless. However, with Vedanta study, something wonderful happens. Yada jivaha prabudyate. One wakes up. And the wonder of wonders is when one wakes up, one doesn't say that I slept for a long time and now I have woken up. One says, I never slept. The idea that I had slept also was part of erroneous perception. It's not that I had truly slept. Therefore, ajam anidram. I never had a dream. I never had sleep. I never had gone to slumber. Ajam anidram aswapnam swatmanam buddhyate tada. It is like someone crossed a river and after reaching the other bank, looked back, there was no river at all. Maya is like that. Maya is unreal by itself. All right, the story I am referring to is well known. A lion cub, right at the time of birth, got mixed with a bunch of sheep. And the little lion grew up amidst sheep. The little lion cub was making sounds like sheep do, and it was afraid of any wild animal coming from the forest. Like all other sheep, this lion cub also was living in fear. Then we have a adult lion coming from the forest, right? And the adult lion is shocked, is astonished to see one of its kind amidst the sheep. How can a lion of my kind be here amidst sheep? trying to eat leaves and grass, etc. Oops! The visiting lion takes the lion cub to a corner and says, "You are a lion. Why are you here?" And the lion cub is trembling with fear and says, "Do not eat me." That is when the lion understands this little fellow has been with sheep only and does not know who he really is. The adult lion takes the lion cub to a nearby pond, asks him to see into the water, look into the water. That is when the lion cub realizes, "Oh my, I don't look like sheep. I am not sheep. I am lion." That is given as an analogy and an analogous story for what Vedanta can do to us. Connecting to this webinar's topic, Soham and Naham, when the lion cub, looking at its own reflection in water, says, "I am not sheep," that is Naham. NΑHAM. I am not sheep, the negation. And almost in the same breath, when the lion cub says, "I am a lion," that is Soham. I am not sheep, the dismissal is Naham. I am lion, the assertion is Soham. Friends, you and I, all through our life, are anyhow into dismissal and assertion of various kinds. Sometimes they are done wisely, sometimes they are done unwisely. Somebody who is well meaning comes forward to help you, and you say, "I don't want your help, get lost." That is dismissal, but unwise. That person would have been of great help to you. Likewise, some wicked person poses as a well wisher and says, "I will get everything done for you. I am here to help and you don't have to give me anything." That's how he begins. Later on, he robs you of everything that you have. When such a person, wicked fellow, approaches you, suppose you get excited because of wrong judgment and you accept him, "Come, come, join my team. We were looking for somebody like you." That superficially is Soham. You accept. Accepting is Soham, negating or refusing is Naham. But as I already cautioned you, acceptance and rejection could be unwise also. So when you accept a wicked person into your team, you are bound to pay a heavy price. On a moral plane also, Soham and Naham have lot of applications. If you accept Satya and dismiss Asatya, don't we have the famous prayer drawn from Brahadaranyaka Upanishad, "Asatoma Sadgamaya"? So with regard to Asat, if you say Naham, if with regard to Sat, if you say Soham, accepting truth and saying goodbye to falsehood can be Soham and Naham. So think of any moral advice, accepting the right and rejecting the wrong is Soham and Naham. Kathopanishad talks about Shreyaha and Preyaha. You welcome Shreyaha, an option, a choice, a course of action which does good to you in due course of time. That is Soham. And even as lot of temptations surround you, even as things are provoking you to lose your patience, lose your balance, and so on, you say, "No, I am not going to yield to this temptation. I'm not going to fall for this provocation. I will keep myself above all these illusions. You refuse to bow down before falsehood, that would be Naham. I'm sure some of you are thinking, yes, all that interpretation is welcome, but how do you apply this Soham and Naham to meditational practice? Though we said a little about it in the beginning, it would be good for us to go into meditation at this moment in a little more detail. Soham can be an alambana. Alambana means support. An old man takes a stick as a support and planting that first on the ground every time, stabilizing himself, puts his foot forward. That stick in his hand comes very handy to the old man who is weak and whose body is bent. That stick becomes alambana. Now, in meditation, any mantra can become alambana. In Kathopanishad, it is said, if you have the maturity, then nothing less than Om should be your alambana. Etadalambanam shreshtam, etadalambanam param, goes the line in the Kathopanishad referring to Om. So you may use Om as the support for your visualization, for your meditation practice. But in this present context of the webinar, Soham is the alambanam. While breathing in, say Soham. While breathing out, say Naham. I don't mean you should say loudly, letting everybody at home know you are meditating, but it could be in the mind also. Soham. Now, why connect it with breathing? Well, I would agree that you may use Soham and Naham independent of breathing. You don't have to repeat
without.
to the door. So the internet also is doing Soham and Naham. The internet pretty much by and large is being available to us, Soham. Suddenly at this part of rural district of Bangalore, the internet says Naham. For a minute or two I am not available for your webinar. So we say, all right, as you wish. As long as 95% of the time you are with us, we are grateful to you, dear internet. So now your internet is back. So I was saying that you may use Soham and Naham as a Vedantic contemplation because all that you have studied in Vedanta can be summarized as a gentle assertion of what you have understood about Atma on one hand, and a firm negation of what you have understood as Anatma. Body is Anatma, mind is Anatma, the senses are Anatma. Your notion that you are no good is Anatma. Your idea that you are more successful than others is also an Atma. Any construction in your mind where you are either seen as higher or as lower, either as success or as failure, is all an Atma. The Atma does not succeed. The Atma does not fail either. This is the high plateau of Vedanta meditation. Therefore, all self-improvement, whether you like it or not, is for the ill-conceived ego. Don't say, I am Satchidananda, but my Satchidananda Atma needs a little improvement. So I am doing Surya Namaskar every morning. Your Surya Namaskar will not improve the pure self. Your Surya Namaskar makes your body better, and your prayers and a number of good things you do. Please continue to do them. But technically, have no doubt, all that self-improvement is of the personality. And on the high plateau of Vedanta, the contemplation is, I am not this personality at all. Naham. So, yes, independent of breathing. But it is a suggestion that you may connect Soham with breathing in and Naham with breathing out. For there is then the additional benefit, in a manner of saying, that along with your meditation, you are doing a simple form of pranayama also. Or you may put it other way around also. You are doing some pranayama, and by bringing Soham and Naham, by superimposing Soham and Naham, you have elevated your pranayama to a Vedantic dhyana. So it is two in one. Pranayama, which is a healthy physical exercise, and Brahmachintana, which is for liberation, which is for arriving at unconditional freedom. Whether in a certain business transaction you win or lose, unconditionally, not depending on that financial success or financial loss, independent of that, if you wish to have a certain lightness in your heart, you want to be free from stress, then use Soham and Naham. But what is the importance of breathing? I would say breathing is a great companion that you have with you wherever you go, or wherever, at whatever time it could be, it may be. Breathing is your companion. To do japa, you need to remember a mantra. And can I say, to do breathing exercise, you should first be breathing? No, you anyhow are breathing. There is nothing to be remembered. You don't need Sanskrit. You don't need some far-flung literature. You just need to do regulated breathing. You are anyhow breathing, do it in a regulated way. What can be easier than that? Therefore, it makes great sense for all of us to get into some amount of regulated breathing. Breathe in to the count of 9. Breathe out to the count of 12. Many teachers of pranayama say to us that if you like, in the beginning, let the duration of breathing in and breathing out be equal. No problem, that's easier. But once you have a degree of control on your breath, you may change over to the exhalation being longer than inhalation. Some time back, a middle-aged, I guess 45 or 48-year-old man, telephoned me and said, Sorry, Swamiji, I did not update you. We haven't talked for more than 2 years. I said, yes, yes, yes. I have been thinking of you sometimes, but we have not talked. And one piece of updating he did was how he had chest pain some 6 months back, and then angiogram, and then angioplasty, two stents in the arteries, etc. And said, our family went through panic, but now I am all right. I want to tell you I am okay. That's fine. Then he said, Swamiji, as per doctor's advice, I have now been doing regular pranayama. If I had done this pranayama much before all those complications arose, my heart complications would not have occurred at all. Then we shared what simple pranayama exercises we have been doing. And he told me that if possible, increase the exhalation time, because he has been very regular now because the the angioplasty etc. shook him up. He learned a lesson of his life. He thought he was a vegetarian, he had no smoking or alcohol, and he thought, wow, I am a vegetarian, I don't smoke, I don't drink alcohol, I will never get heart problems. Then he woke up that there are many other factors. It doesn't have to be with red meat or much wine or alcohol. He understood, and he is now very regular, and he regularly checks the parameters, and out of his own experience, out of what he discovered, he said to me, the simple pranayama where the exhalation is 1.5 times. Count 1 to 6 and inhale, and count 1 to 9 while exhaling. Do that for 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. A lot of inner cleansing. The books of Yoga Shastra say it causes Nadi Shuddhi. In the mysticism of Yoga Shastra, there are nadis all over our body which are neither blood vessels carrying blood nor nerves all reaching finally the brain, neither the blood circulation system nor the nervous system. Yet another third system, Nadi Vyuha, and they talk about certain two prominent nadis. I'm sure you have heard of these two, Ida and Pingala. They go from the bottom of the backbone all the way till the head. And between those two, Ida and Pingala, there runs the most important nadi called Sushumna. This is Yoga Shastra's language, not of Vedanta. However, since I said pranayama can cause nadi shuddhi, I said something very basic about nadis. Nadi shuddhi is a technical word. A simpler word is chitta shuddhi. You and I suffer from kama, krodha, moha, lobha, mada, matsarya in some form or the other. Some have more of one and less of another, and some others have more of this and less of that. But on this earth, there is hardly anybody who doesn't suffer from these impurities. Shoka and moha, Adi Shankara says in his Gita Bhashya. A human being is beset with shoka and moha. Shoka, some regret, some sorrow about something he did not get, or some unpleasant episode that happened in his life. Shoka, that blurs his vision. He then gets into moha. he begins to either over-evaluate something or under-evaluate something or someone. And moha is characterized by that kind of over-evaluation or under-evaluation. If you over-evaluate something and then begin to desire it, you are on a ride. You are on an ego trip. You under-evaluate and miss the opportunity to take something which would have helped you a lot. Again, you are on the path to loss. So, what can breathing exercise do? It can help you get chitta shuddhi. Upanishads also talk about chitta shuddhi. The Upanishad called Shvetashvatara Upanishad says, if you and I do yogic practice like pranayama daily, then over a length of time, among other things, our voice will improve. Swara Saushtava says, the very first chapter. Shvetashvatara has 6 chapters. The very first chapter talks about benefits of yoga. Swara Saushtava. It is said your skin begins to have more luster. Don't use this or that cream, some chemical to put on your skin for your face to shine. Use simple soap, have simple bath, but do pranayama, do yoga. You will find that there will be a certain shine on your face. And that shine doesn't come by some surface treatment. That shine comes from chitta shuddhi. You know, chitta shuddhi. For many days you haven't screamed at anybody, yelled at anybody. For many days or maybe a few months, you haven't desired something which is not good to desire. You have been doing your duty, working hard during the day, sleeping well at night. Life is simplified. A simple life lived with certain contentment causes tvakkanti to increase. Your skin will shine. Your voice will improve. Your steadiness, your stability. You will yourself experience increased stability. You will talk with less of, unnecessary repetition or some wrong word coming at some place and then you having to say, sorry, what I meant is all that back and forth movement. I mean by stability, a certain delivery of words, of actions, of responses, everything in a nice rhythmic manner. No waste of time, no wastage of energy. Isn't it wonderful if you and I can live with a certain sense of inner poise, doing everything that we need to do, but in the most optimum manner? So that should suffice to elaborate on the value of breathing. Therefore, this meditation technique that we are touching upon in this webinar is a fine blend of breathing exercise where there are many benefits to the body, speech, and mind, and Vedanta Chintana. You may call it Dhyana. This Brahma Chintana is combined with a healthy breathing exercise. And if you get bored with one kind of interpretation, go for another interpretation. Imagine, in spite of your best intentions, you and a colleague of yours at workplace developed some misunderstanding. And you are a little bothered about it. Oh my, she and I were such good team members, always working together with such wonderful understanding. But what happened in the last few days is, alas, she suspects me, I don't trust her now. But what you want is the old relationship of mutual trust. Do your Soham and Naham. Say Soham if your colleague's name is Girija. You say Soham, I want to trust Girija. I want Girija to trust me. So what should happen, what is desirable, bring it in Soham. I want Girija and me to work together at the team in my company with such wonderful synergy, with such wonderful sharing, with such wonderful working together and all that. Visualize it during Soham, breathing in, and while saying Naham and breathing out, say to yourself, this moment onwards, Girija and I stop accusing each other, stop suspecting each other. Girija and I will instantly stop going to the boss and doing some backbiting or saying something negative. We will stand by each other. That is Soham. We will not talk ill of each other. That is Naham. Therefore, I have taken a simple topic in this webinar where on different planes of dharma and moksha, of emotional well-being and metaphysical or some kind of transcendental leap to heights of truth in whichever way, on whatever plane, you may use Soham and Naham for day to day or daily rising in consciousness. Let me conclude my words saying Soham while inhaling, Naham while exhaling can be a powerful tool for you to make you spiritually grow, make you spiritually grow fast. You may consider this form of meditation, contemplation. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. So it's your time. Unmute your microphone before asking a question.
Swamiji,
Yes, Srinivas Murthy.
what is the difference between alambana and avalambana?
Yes, alambana is a healthy, desirable support. Avalambana is dependence. And except, why is my own voice coming here? Except, my voice is echoing here, okay. In some Bhakti Sahitya, avalambana is used in a complementary sense, desirable sense. The Bhakta says to the Lord, I depend on you. Without you I cannot live. Oh Lord, you are my only avalambana. There the word avalambana is used in a good sense, and once it is good sense, it is alambana only. Whereas lot of other places, avalambana is used in a little undesirable sense of dependence, which is a burden. Avalambana. Somebody depends on the king for his livelihood. You and I depend on maybe some company that gives us salary. Avalambana. So avalambana, to wind up the answer. Avalambana means dependence. Alambana is a support which helps me. Avalambana cripples me. Avalambana limits me. All right.
So in as the Vaishnavas say,
Correct.
Dasoham.
Yeah.
That is avalambana or alambana?
I already mentioned that's a very appropriate reference you have made. It is on surface avalambana, but since it is on God that you are depending, not on some mortal king or some company that started with a bang and you never know when it will close down. So since it is God on which you depend, it is on the surface avalambana, but one scratch the surface, it is alambana, very, very welcome, very desirable. So if we depend on God, if we say, I depend only on God now, and you have a certain feeling about it, devotion, that is a good thing. So whether you call it avalambana or alambana, it is good. But in this primary preliminary classification, alambana is good, avalambana is bad. But if it's about God, call it as you like, it is good. In Mukunda Mala, Kulashekara says, "O Lord Krishna, look at me, not just as servant of yours, servants, 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 servant. 7 degrees. So Kulashekara, a king of Travancore state, wishes to be the lowest servant of Sri Krishna. So superficially it is avalambana, but actually, thanks to the purity of the motive, the purity of that sentiment, it is a supreme alambana. Ranjan's turn. Turn it on and ask Ranjan.
Pranam Swamiji. Coincidentally, I was reading the Aparokshanubhuti by Shankaracharya, and there he talks a lot about pranayama there, the kumbhaka, rechaka, and so taking the breath and holding the breath and then breathing out. So I just wanted to add that here, and it's really good to know that he talks about torturing the nose if you do just breathing out. So it was very nice. I just wanted to add that.
Thank you. Yeah. So Vedanta Sara also includes a chapter on Patanjali's Yoga Shastra, though otherwise Vedanta Sara is a whole Prakarana Grantha on regular Vedanta, Atma, Anatma, and so on. Yoga Shastra's terminology and practices are once in a while integrated into the Vedanta. In Rishikesh, you have Swami Shivananda's ashram. The ashram itself is called, under Divine Life Society, Yoga Vedanta Forest Academy. So Yoga Vedanta are brought together, clubbed together. Yoga Vedanta Forest Academy. So yes, the name of the institution. But all don't have to do it. You try out. If it works well with you, if it works out well for you, you may make a blend. Sri Aurobindo, I believe, made a blend combination of all the 4 yogas, karma, bhakti, yoga, and jnana. And he called it integral yoga. All right.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Any other hand has gone up? There is something in chat box. Let me see. Yeah, that is some pranam and pranama.
On the YouTube.
Yes, that was something posted on YouTube, which is copied and pasted here. All right. Very happy to note all of you joining Sunday evening in India, Sunday early morning in the West. We were very busy with a lot of programs. We had a 5-day camp in Suvarnamukhi on Alpha and Omega of Om. And just yesterday and today, Saturday and Sunday in India, we had a program at a wonderful place, the School of Ancient Wisdom, very near Bangalore Airport. And a nice 9-acre campus. And our theme was, what was our theme?
The charm of Upanishads.
The charm of Upanishads. So this was like a quick review of 3 Upanishads. Kathopanishad, Mundakopanishad and Brihadaranyaka-upanishads. Obviously some selected mantras and some dwelling. And we, some of us arrived at this ashram called Advaitam just a couple of hours ago. And therefore I took a very simple topic without much of references to some mantras or Shankara Bhashya, etc. I thought something simple and yet might interest you all. That's how we did this. So if there is no comment or question, we will conclude for now. Have a nice day I'm saying to friends in the West, and good night, Shubharatri to all of you in the East. Hari Om.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Hari Om. Hari Om.